Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today is Monday, April 9th, 2018. Big podcast today, recapping the Masters, the NHL, and predicting the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, as well as previewing each matchup. The NBA from yesterday, recapping all those games and looking ahead to tonight's games. Major League Baseball look ahead to tonight and recapping from last night, going over Week 3 power rankings. The NHL ReDraft from 2016 that I'm finally going to do. Go over my Major League Baseball players of the week, and go over a big NBA GM, president of basketball operations hiring. I'm going to start with the Masters. Patrick Reed was your winner. The first time Reed's ever won a major tournament, and this has been, I believe, the third straight year where a player that hasn't won a major tournament has won the Masters. He finishes with a minus 15 and earns $2 million. Second place, Ricky Fowler with the minus 14 and earnings of $1.2 million. Jordan Spieth had the late push, finishes in third with the minus 13, earnings of $748,000. Fourth place, John Ram, a minus 11, earnings of $528,000. And in fifth place, Henrik Stenson with a minus 9 and earnings of $386.4 thousand. Rory McIlroy fell apart late in this tournament. Tiger Woods didn't perform well yesterday. And the next tournament is the U.S. Open. And I'll talk about that more as that gets closer. The National Hockey League regular season ended last night. And there's one game on. And that was the Boston Bruins hosting the Florida Panthers. As the Panthers went into Boston to defeat the Bruins 4-2. The Panthers barely missed the playoffs. They should be happy with this year they had. Although, if they didn't go off to that poor start, maybe they sneak in the playoffs, considering how well they finished the season. Henrik Borgstrom got his first NHL goal to make it 1-0 Florida in the first period. David Backes' 14th of the year ties it up at 1 apiece. Frank Fantaro's 7th of the year makes it 2-1 Panthers. Second period, Maxime Mammon's 3rd of the year, 3-1 Panthers. Third period, David Pastrnak on the power play, his 35th of the year, made it a 3-2 game. And Evgeny Dadonov's 28th of the year put it away for Florida as their 4-2 winners. Boston will be facing the Toronto Maple Leafs in round 1. And like I said, I'll be doing my round 1 predictions on this podcast, and I'm going to do a separate podcast previewing and predicting the entire Stanley Cup playoffs, as well as me picking out my NHL season awards. I'll get to the playoff predictions for the first round in a moment. NBA yesterday, a couple interesting results. The Pacers defeated the Hornets 123-117 as they improved to 48-33. Charlotte drops to 35-46. As the Pacers looked locked into that 5th seed, Domantas Sabonis put up 30 in the win. Malik Monk put up 22 in defeat. Monk's come out pretty well these last couple games for Charlotte. The 76ers defeated the Mavericks 109-97 as they inch closer to clinching that 3 seed over the Cavs as they improved to 50-30 to win their 14th straight game. Dallas drops to 24-57. J.J. Redick put up 18 in the win. Harrison Barnes put up 21 in defeat. The Hawks defeated the Celtics 112-106. The Celtics are locked into that 2 spot. Atlanta improves to 24-57 as Boston drops to 54-26. Taurean Prince put up 33 in the win. Jason Tatum put up 19 in the loss. Prince has come on of late for the Hawks as he looks to be a keeper on that rebuilding squad. The Grizzlies defeated the Pistons 130-117, which clinched the Phoenix Suns, the league's worst record, so they have the best odds of winning the draft lottery as Memphis improves to 22-58 and Detroit drops to 38-42. Anthony Tolliver put up 19 in the win, where Sean Brooks put up 25 in defeat. The Magic and the Raptors faced off, and the Raptors, who have that 1 seed locked up, defeated the Magic 112-101 as they improved to 58-22. Orlando drops to 24-56. CJ Miles put up 22 in the win. Aaron Gordon put up 16 in defeat. The Jazz defeated the Lakers 112-97 to clinch a playoff spot as they improved to 47-33. And the Lakers drop to 34-46. Donovan Mitchell put up 28 in the win. Josh Hart put up 25 in defeat. Hart's been playing really well for the Lakers. He was out for a while with a broken hand. He came back and is playing really well for the Lakers as he looks to be a keeper for them long term. The Warriors defeated the Suns 117-100. The Warriors are locked in that 2 spot. They improved to 58-23. Phoenix drops to 20-61. Klay Thompson, 34 points in the win, and he scored 22 of his 34 in the first quarter. Danuel House put up 22 in defeat for the Suns. Tonight we have a couple games. The Raptors at the Pistons. The Cavaliers at the Knicks. There's rumors that LeBron James may sit tonight, but I don't think he will because maybe they'll try to go for that 3 seed to try to possibly get Boston in round 2. You have the Bulls at the Nets, the Thunder at the Heat. If the Thunder win this game, they clinch a playoff spot. And you have the Bucks hosting the Magic as the Bucks maybe try to want to move up in the standings, or do they want to hang around 7 to try to play the short end of the Celtics? The Grizzlies at the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves clinch with the win here against the Grizzlies. You have the Kings at the Spurs. It's the Spurs trying to clinch tonight against the Kings. You have a big one in Denver between the Nuggets and the Trailblazers. The Nuggets have to win to keep their playoff hopes alive. The Timberwolves clinch tonight if they win and the Nuggets lose. But we'll see. The Nuggets are home against Portland. Portland has not played well of late, even though they have a playoff spot locked up. But the 3 seed is no sure thing for the Blazers, as the Jazz are right up their butt for it. And you have, on ESPN tonight, you have the Pelicans at the Clippers. The Clippers were eliminated over the weekend when they lost to the Nuggets at home. I think the Pelicans and Anthony Davis win this one on the road as they look to clinch a playoff spot. And I believe they clinch tonight with the win here. Major League Baseball, a lot of interesting results from yesterday, and then I'll get to the power rankings and whatnot. The Orioles win a crazy 12-inning game over the Yankees by a score of 8-7 to improve to 4-6. The Yankees dropped to 5-5. Giancarlo Stanton 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts again. He was booed at the end of the game as he was the go-ahead run at the plate when the Yankees originally had bases loaded, nobody out, and Aaron Judge ground into a 1-2-5 double play. They nailed the tying run at home, and they nailed the runner at third. And then Stanton came up and struck out, and that was the ball game. Richard Bleier with the win, Adam Warren with the loss, Brad Brock with the save. First inning, all Yankee. RBI ground out, Neil Walker, 1-0 New York. 3-0 New York on a 2-run single by Miguel Andujar. 4-0 New York on a RBI single by Austin Romine. 5-0 New York on an RBI double by Ronald Torreyes. Here come the Orioles. Top of the second. RBI single, Anthony Santander to make it 5-1. Orioles get within 3 on an RBI single by Tim Beckham in the top of the third. Top of the fifth, 2-run home run, Danny Valencia to get the O's within a run. Bottom of the fifth, RBI single, Austin Romine to make it 6-4 Yanks. Top of the sixth, RBI single, Manny Machado to make it 6-5. Top of the seventh, the go-ahead home run by Anthony Santander, his first career home run to make it 7-6 O's. Yankees tie it right back up in the bottom of the seventh with an RBI single by Austin Romine. And then the top of the 12th, Craig Gentry, the game-winning RBI single to make the Orioles an 8-7 winner. Mike Wright only went 2/3 of an inning, giving up 5 hits and 2 earned runs with a walk and a strikeout. Leaves the game with a 7.94 ERA. Give the O's bullpen credit because they did the job for the most part. And Jordan Montgomery did not have the best start for the Yanks. 4 1/3, 10 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 4.82 ERA. The Yankee bullpen did not hold up. Domingo Germán was the one that gave up the homer to Anthony Santander. Adam Warren gave up the game-winning hit to Craig Gentry. The Red Sox came back from 7-1 down to beat the Tampa Bay Rays 8-7 at home to improve to 8-1, and Tampa drops to 1-8. Carson Smith with the win, Alex Colon with the loss, Craig Kimbrell with the save. Bottom of the first, Red Sox score first on an RBI groundout by Jose Ramirez. Hanley Ramirez to make it 1-0 Sox. Top of the second, C.J. Cron with the home run to tie it up at 1. Top of the third, RBI double, Carlos Gomez, 2-1 Rays. Top of the fourth, RBI single, Adeiny Hechavarria, 3-1 Rays. Top of the fifth, RBI single, Brad Miller, 4-1 Rays. And Miller is now on the disabled list. So that's a loss for the Rays. Bottom of the fifth, Hanley Ramirez reaches on an infield single to get the Red Sox within 2. Top of the sixth, RBI triple, Kevin Kiermaier, 5-2 Rays. Top of the seventh, Joey Wendell, RBI triple, 6-2 Rays. Also in the top of the second, sacrifice fly, Jesus Saker to make it 7-2 Rays. Here come the Red Sox. With 2 outs at the bottom of the eighth. RBI double, Mitch Moreland, 7-3. RBI double, Rafael Devers, 7-5. RBI single, Christian Vasquez, 7. Game-tying RBI single, Mookie Betts, 7 apiece. And the go-ahead game-winning RBI double, Andrew Benintendi to make the Red Sox an 8-7 winner. Eduardo Rodriguez in his first start of the season, 3 2/3, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, and 7 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 7.36 ERA. Andrew Kittredge only went 2 innings for Tampa, giving up 2 hits, 1 earned run, and a strikeout, leaves the game with a 3.52 ERA. The Indians defeated the Royals 3-1 to improve to 4-5. KC drops to 2-5. Cody Allen with the win. Brandon Maurer with the loss. Royals got on the board first in the top of the fifth with an RBI triple by John Jay to make it 1-0 KC. Bottom of the eighth, Jose Ramirez, RBI ground out to the pitcher to even it up at 1 apiece in the bottom of the eighth. Bottom of the ninth, walk-off home run, Yan Gomes to give Cleveland a 3-1 win. Mike Clevenger, 7 1/3 innings, 10 hits, and earned run, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts, leaves the game with a .71 ERA. Jason Hamill, 6 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 4.09 ERA. The Marlins defeated the Phillies 6-3 as they bounce back from their dismal effort, giving up 20 runs on Saturday as they improve to 3-6. Philly drops to 3-5. Odra Samer, Desapanye with the win. Luis Garcia with the loss. Brad Ziegler with the save. Top of the first, the Marlins got on the board with a home run by Miguel Rojas to put them up 1-0. Also in the top of the first, 2-run single by Braxton Lee to put Miami up 3-1. Bottom of the first, here comes the Phillies' answer. Carlos Santana, sacrifice fly, 3-1. The Phillies get within 1 run to make it 3-2 on an RBI single by Nick Williams. Bottom of the third, Rhys Hoskins, RBI double to tie it up at 3 apiece. Top of the eighth, 2-run double by Brian Anderson to give Miami a 5-3 lead. And an RBI single by Byron Holiday to give Miami a 6-3 win. Trevor Richards got the start for Miami, 4 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, leaves the game with an 8.64 ERA. Jake Arrieta in his Phillies debut, 4 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 4.5 ERA. I think Arrieta will pitch better in his next outing. The Pirates defeated the Reds 5-0 to improve to 7-2. Cincinnati drops to 2-6. Jamison Taillon with the win. Tyler Mahle with the loss. Bottom of the second, this game was all Pirates. Taillon, believe it or not, with an RBI single. They gave himself a 1-0 lead on the mound. Bottom of the fifth, Gregory Polanco, 2-run home run to give the Pirates a 3-0 lead. 4-0 Pirates on an RBI single by Josh Bell. And 5-0 Pirates in the bottom of the fifth on a home run by Corey Dickerson. I mentioned Jamison Taillon. Complete game. 1 hit. 2 walks. 7 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 1.26 ERA. He's an ace in the making. Tyler Mahle, 4 2/3, 9 hits, 5 earned runs, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 4.22 ERA. The Tigers defeated the White Sox 1-0 to complete the sweep as they improve to 4-4. Chicago drops to 3-5. Mike Fiers with the win. Reynaldo Lopez with the loss. Shane Green with the save. The lone run came in the top of the first inning as Miguel Cabrera hit a sacrifice fly to center. And Martin scores. Mike Fiers went 6 innings, gave up 3 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, leave the game with a 0 ERA. I believe he was a part of the package in the Verlander deal. So that Verlander trade returns looking solid for Detroit. If indeed Fiers was a part of it, I believe he was. Reynaldo Lopez, meanwhile, 7 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, 5 walks, and 5 strikeouts, leaves the game with a .69 ERA. Lopez came in the package, I believe, for Adam Eaton. And he's turned in a fine start for Chicago as they are enduring their rebuild as well. The Cubs defeat the Brewers 3-0 to improve to 5-4. They take 3 out of 4 from the Brewers as the Brewers drop to 5-5. Jose Quintana with the win. Chase Anderson with the loss. Brendan Morrow with the save. All Cubs in this one. Top of the fourth, Ben Zobrist home run, 1-0 Chicago. Top of the fifth, RBI double, Alberto Mora Jr., 2-0 Chicago. Top of the seventh, Tommy LaStella was safe at the error by Jesus Aguilar as Victor Caratini scored. 3-0 Cubs. That's your final. Jose Quintana bounces back from the disappointing start against the Marlins. Gives him 6 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 4.5 ERA. Chase Anderson, not bad either. 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 3.38 ERA. The Astros defeat the Padres 4-1 as they improve to 8-2. San Diego drops to 2-8. Charlie Morton with the win. Tyson Ross with the loss. Brad Peacock with the save. Bottom of the fifth, Max Stassi with a 3-run home run to give the Astros a 3-0 lead. Top of the sixth, the Padres get on the board with an RBI ground out by Austin Hedges to make it the 3-1 game. And in the bottom of the sixth, Josh Reddick homered to make it a 4-1 final for Houston. Charlie Morton, 6 innings, 4 hits, 3 walks, and 7 strikeouts. Still has a 0 ERA. That's pretty impressive. Tyson Ross, 6 innings, 7 strikeouts, 4 earned runs, and 6 hits. Leaves the game with a 5.25 ERA. The Diamondbacks defeated the Cardinals 4-1 as they improve to 7-2. St. Louis drops to 4-5. Yoshinisha Hirayama with the win. Dominic Leone with the loss. Brad Boxberger with the save. Cardinals scored first in the bottom of the fifth on an RBI single by Colton Wong. Top of the seventh, here come the Diamondbacks. RBI single, Nick Ahmed to tie it up at 1 apiece. Top of the eighth, David Peralta, 2-run home run to make it 3-1 Diamondbacks. And in the top of the eighth, A.J. Pollock follows it up with a home run, 4-1 Diamondbacks. That's your final. The big story from this game, there was a brawl. Torey Lovullo, the manager of the Diamondbacks, didn't like some of the calls that the umpire was giving. So he came out and had some words for the umpire. He got ejected and he was saying explicit things to Yadier Molina as Molina tried to punch Lovullo as the bench is cleared. We'll see if anything comes out from the league about this. Taijuan Walker, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 3.27 ERA. Luke Weaver, 6 in the third innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, a walk, and 7 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 1.59 ERA. The Blue Jays defeat the Rangers 7-4 as they improve to 6-4. Texas drops to 4-7. Jaime Garcia with the win. Cole Hamels with the loss. Roberto Osuna with the save. Blue Jays got it going right away. Top of the first, Steve Pearce homer, 1-0 Toronto. Also in the top of the first, 3-run shot by Kendrys Morales to make it 4-0 Toronto. Bottom of the first, RBI single, Elvis Andrus make it 4-1. Top of the third, Kevin Pillar reached on an infield single to make it 5-1 Toronto. Top of the sixth, RBI double by Luke Maile, 6-1 Blue Jays. Top of the sixth as well, Curtis Granderson, RBI single, 7-1 Toronto. Bottom of the sixth, Joey Gallo, a 2-run shot to get the Rangers within 4 to make it a 7-3 ball game. Bottom of the eighth, Sin-Soo Choo, RBI single, make it 7-4. Choo's actually been pretty good to start the season for the Rangers, and that was your final. Jaime Garcia, 5 in the third innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 3.18 ERA. Cole Hamels, 5 in 1/3 innings, 8 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 5.06 ERA. The Braves shut out the Rockies 4-0 to get the split in this series as they improve to 6-3. Colorado drops to 5-5. Sean Newcomb with the win. Kyle Freeland with the loss. All Braves in this one. Top of the fifth, RBI ground out Ozzie Albies to make it 1-0 Braves. 2-0 Braves on the sixth inning on a home run by Nick Markakis. That makes it 2-0. 3-0 Braves on a home run by Dansby Swanson, also in the top of the sixth. And then the top of the seventh, Ozzie Albies with the home run to make it a 4-0 final. Sean Newcomb, 6 innings, 5 hits, no earned runs, no walks, 9 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 4.35 ERA. Kyle Freeland, 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 5.56 ERA. The Dodgers defeat the Giants 2-1 in 10 innings. That's a big win for the Dodgers as they improve to 3-6. San Francisco drops to 4-4. San Francisco should be okay at 4-4, in all honesty. Josh Fields with the win. Pierce Johnson with the loss. Kenley Jansen with the save. Top of the fourth inning, Matt Kemp RBI single, 1-0 Dodgers. Bottom of the eighth, RBI single, Buster Posey, make it a 1-1 game. Top of the 10th, Game-winning RBI double, Kyle Farmer. 2-1 Dodgers. That's your final. Clayton Kershaw made his third start of the year. Pitched pretty well. 7 innings, 1 earned run, 6 hits, 6 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 1.89 ERA. Give the Dodgers bullpen credit. They held their own. Ty Block pitched well again against the Dodgers. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, and a strikeout. Leaves the game with a 4.11 ERA. The Angels beat the Athletics 6-1 as they improve to 7-3. Oakland drops to 4-7. Shohei Ohtani retired the first 19 batters of the game and was perfect through 6 as he was just brilliant in this game. He gets the win. Kendall Graveman gets the loss. Ohtani got help from his teammates and got the run support. Bottom of the first, RBI double, Albert Pujols. Mike Trout scores, 1-0 Angels. Also in the bottom of the first, RBI single by Cole Calhoun to make it 2-0 Angels. Bottom of the third, Mike Trout homers to make it 3-0 Angels. Bottom of the fourth, RBI single, Mike Trout, 4-0 Angels. Also in the bottom of the fourth, sacrifice fly, Justin Upton to make it 5-0 Angels. Bottom of the sixth, new acquisition, Ryan Schimpf homers to right center, 6-0 Angels. I totally forgot that he was designated for assignment by the Rays. I think the Rays are going to regret that one. He could have helped them. And in the top of the ninth, the Athletics got their lone run on a home run by Matt Joyce to make it 6-1. I mentioned Ohtani, 7 innings, 1 hit, 1 walk, 12 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 2.08 ERA. Kendall Graveman, 3 1/3 innings, 5 hits, 5 earned runs, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 9.45 ERA. And last but not least, the Mets defeated the Nationals 6-5 in 12 innings to complete the sweep as the Mets improved to 7-1. The Nats dropped to 4-5. Seth Lugo with the win. Brandon Kinsler with the loss. Jacob Rami with the save in place of Jurasis Familia, who got a day off. Bottom of the first, 2-run home run, Bryce Harper to give the Nats a 2-0 lead. Top of the third, Adrian Gonzalez with the grand slam to put the Mets on top 4-2. Bottom of the fourth, RBI double by Pedro Severino to make it 4-3. Top of the fifth is Durable Cabrera homers to make it 5-3 Mets. Bottom of the fifth, Trey Turner RBI single to make it a 5-4 game. Bottom of the seventh, game-tying RBI single by Michael Taylor to make it a 5-5 game. Top of the sixth, the go-ahead game-winning RBI single, Yoenis Cespedes to make it a 6-5 final. Gave the Mets so much credit to pull off what I think was the most impressive 3-game sweep of the season by a mile. Going on the road into D.C. and sweeping the division favorites. Matt Harvey, 5 innings, 9 hits, 4 earned runs, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 3.6 ERA, so not as good as his first start. Tanner Roark, 5 innings, 5 hits, 5 earned runs, 4 walks, 9 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 4.5 ERA. Going to go over today's slate real quick before I do the power rankings. Mariners-Twins was postponed from yesterday, and that will be made up in May. Rays and White Sox are underway. They're tied at 1 apiece. Chris Archer going for the White Sox, and Miguel Gonzalez going for Chicago. And speaking of Chicago, the Cubs and Pirates postponed. They'll make it up tomorrow afternoon, and that would be the Cubs home opener. Tigers-Indians tonight as Francisco Liriano and Corey Kluber face off. You have the Brewers and the Cardinals. Julius Chassin against Miles Mikolas. And don't forget, Mikolas homered last week against the Brewers. Blue Jays Orioles, you have J.A. Happ against Dylan Bundy. Oh, by the way, ESPN is airing Brewers Cards, giving the Cards at home to even up their record at 5-5. Mikolas shown promise in his first start, and the Brewers are missing their closer as he was missed over the weekend against the Cubs on Saturday for sure. You have the Braves at the Nationals as the Braves look to keep this good start going. Julio Teheran against Max Scherzer. You have the Reds at the Phils as the Phils look to rebound from their bad loss against the Marlins. Ben Lively going up against Cody Reed. You have the Mets looking to continue this hot stretch against the Marlins, going for 5 straight wins. Noah Syndergaard against Jose Urena. You have the Angels at the Rangers. We'll see if Shohei Ohtani makes a pinch hit appearance or is in the lineup for the Angels. I very hope so that he is, because that would be a fun story to see if he homers again in a homer-friendly ballpark in Texas with his power that he has in the short porch and right in Arlington. You have Garrett Richards going up against Doug Fister. And Fister's pitched well in his first 2 starts. You have the Astros and the Twins, Justin Verlander against Lance Lynn. You have the Mariners at the Royals with Marco Gonzalez against Jacob Junis. And Junis pitched well in his first start of the season. We'll see if he keeps that up. We have the Padres at the Rockies with Clayton Richard against John Gray. And that was opening day lineup, I think, too, for both of these teams. Those are the 2 opening day starters. And you have Arizona at San Francisco as the Diamondbacks look to keep up their good start with Zach Godley against Derek Holland. Yankees-Red Sox kick off at Fenway tomorrow. We'll get more into Yankees-Red Sox tomorrow, but I'll discuss those 2 teams on my power rankings, which is what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to go from 3 to 1. I went from 1 to 30 last week. I like going from 30 to 1. I just think it's more fun like that. Number 30 is the Tampa Bay Rays. They had a terrible loss against the Red Sox yesterday in a game that they absolutely should have won. They were destroyed in Yankee Stadium against that good Yankees lineup. They lost Brad Miller, who's on the disabled list. If they're able to beat the White Sox, it won't be surprising considering Chris Archer's on the mound. They have the White Sox to start the week, off day Thursday, and then they host the Philadelphia Phillies over the weekend. That should be interesting. Number 29 is the Miami Marlins, who would have been number 30 had the Rays not blown that Red Sox game yesterday. They probably should be 30 after giving up 20 runs against the Phillies. They host the Mets tonight, tomorrow, and Wednesday with the off day Thursday, and then they continue their homestand against the Pittsburgh Pirates to close out the weekend. The Pirates are off to a solid start. I'll get to them in a moment. Number 28 is the San Diego Padres, who stupidly lost a game as Eric Hosmer failed to catch an infield fly, pretty much, in the infield. And they're 2-8 to start Eric Hosmer's tenure as a San Diego Padre. They open the week of Colorado against the Rockies, off day Thursday. And then they have the Giants coming to town over the weekend, as they say that this game is going to be on ESPN on Friday night. I wonder if that's really true or not. That'd be a little interesting if it was. And they have, that's Thursday night. They have a 4-game set against the Giants, and they say the Thursday's game is going to be on ESPN. It has like a plus sign next to it, so it could very well be on ESPN this week, their game against the San Francisco Giants. Number 27 is the Kansas City Royals, who have picked off a couple teams. They picked off the Indians. They picked off the Tigers once. They're 2-5. They had a couple rainouts. They host the Mariners for 3, and they have a 4-game set against the Angels, as the Angels come to town with Shohei Ohtani. They'll probably face Ohtani in that series, so that's going to be interesting. The Saturday night game is on FS1. Maybe that's the game Ohtani pitches in. We'll see, as the Royals are off to a 2-5 start, as I mentioned. Number 26 is the Cincinnati Reds, who did not have that good of a week. They played the Cubs. They actually did defeat the Cubs, but they got destroyed by the Pirates twice, and they lost a close one against the Pirates on Thursday, and then they actually beat the Pirates on Saturday. They have the Phillies in Philadelphia to start the week, and they close out the week with a 4-game set against the St. Louis Cardinals. That's weird that I don't get this ESPN Plus thing that I'm getting on my phone. I don't know if ESPN's airing that game or not, or ESPN Radio might be. It's impossible that Saturday game would be on ESPN because the NBA playoffs would be underway unless the 12 o'clock or the ESPN schedule for the playoffs is different. We'll see about that as the Reds play at Philadelphia to start the week. And like I said, they close out the week against the Cardinals at home. So it should be another interesting week for the Cincinnati Reds as they run into an injury ravaged from somewhat Cardinals team and a Phillies team that's not off to a great start whatsoever. You have the Detroit Tigers coming in at number 25 with their 4-4 record after sweeping the Chicago White Sox. They open the week with a 4-game set against the Cleveland Indians, and then they host the Yankees over the weekend. Interesting week for Detroit. I don't think the 4-4 will be sustained. Maybe they do pick off Cleveland once and the Yankees once, and they end up with a 6-10 record. Would that be 6-10 or 6-8? Should be interesting. The Tigers' pitching has been decent thus far, but let's see how long that lasts. You have at 24 the Philadelphia Phillies, who put up a whopping 20 runs on the Marlins the other day. They beat the Marlins 2 out of 3, and they got swept by the Mets. They open up the week against the Reds at home. Off day Thursday, then they go to St. Pete to take on the Rays. They should take advantage of their soft schedule. That is the Phils. We'll see how next week turns out for them in these rankings. Number 23 is the Texas Rangers, who are off to a bit of a slow start. They're 4-7. They are coming off a series loss against the Toronto Blue Jays. They lost 2 out of 3 against the Jays, and they actually got a split with the Athletics to start the week. And then this week they host the Angels, and they get to avoid Shohei Ohtani at the mound, but they'll likely see him at the plate. And they close the week with the Astros in Houston, so that it's not going to be an easy week for the Texas Rangers coming up. Number 22 is the Oakland Athletics, who began the week with a series split over the Texas Rangers, and then they ran into Shohei Ohtani and the Angels as they lost 2 out of 3 to LA and Anaheim. They begin the week with an off day on today, and then they go to LA for 2 games, or they stay in LA for 2 games, except they play the Dodgers. Off day on Thursday, and then they travel to Seattle on Friday to take on the Mariners, with Friday night's game possibly being on ESPN. I don't get the ESPN Plus thing. I have to figure that out. Number 21 is the Chicago White Sox, as they had a disappointing week as they got swept by the Tigers, and then before that, they lost 2 out of 3 against the Blue Jays. They begin the week against the Rays, as they're playing right now against the Rays. And they close out the week with a 4-game set in Minnesota against the Twins. So you better hope they do well against Tampa Bay, who's number 30 in my rankings right now. And if they get a split against the Twins, they should be happy with that. Number 20 is the Atlanta Braves, who probably should be higher on this list with the 6-3 record. But part of me thinks that that's a little bit fraudulent, although they beat the Nationals a couple times, and they beat the Rockies a couple times, and those are 2 solid teams in the National League. They begin the week in D.C. against the Nationals, and they close out the week in Wrigley Field against the Cubs with the off day on Thursday. So it should be another interesting week for Atlanta. They should be okay if they go 3-3 in that stretch. Number 19 is the surprising Pittsburgh Pirates, who probably deserve more respect. They are 7-2 right now after defeating the Reds 3 out of 4 times. And before that, they defeated the Twins once, and they did lose to the Twins the other time. But give them credit, they're 7-2. They're supposed to play against the Cubs today, but that game got postponed till tomorrow, as tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, they're at Wrigley as that begins the Cubs' home schedule. And they close out the week with 3 in Miami against the hapless Marlins. If they get out of that 4-2, they should be proud. They probably should be higher than this ranking, but I think that 7-2 is fraudulent because they played the Reds and the Tigers to begin the season. I got to give them credit for the Twins win because the Twins are a better team than the Pirates right now and more talented than the Pirates right now, so I give them credit for that. Number 18 is the San Francisco Giants, who are 4-4. Probably deserve more respect considering that they defeated the Dodgers 2 out of 3 this weekend and defeated them 2 out of 4 to begin the season as well. And they also got the split with the Mariners to begin the week, and then they split with the Dodgers this week. I'm sorry, they split with the Dodgers. They didn't win 2 out of 3. I thought they won 2 out of 3. But I forgot that one game got rained out. They opened the week against the Diamondbacks, and they closed the week at San Diego against the Padres. Don't be shocked if they come out of that over 500 because San Diego's off to a lousy start, and they get the Diamondbacks at home, although the Diamondbacks are one of the league's better teams to begin this season. Number 17 is the Baltimore Orioles, who are coming off 3 wins in 4 games in the Bronx over the New York Yankees. They begin the week hosting the Toronto Blue Jays, and they deserve a lot of credit for winning those 2 games at Yankee Stadium. Those 2 games that were extra inning games probably should have been losses. You got to give them credit for that. And then before that Yankee series, they got swept by the reigning World Series champion Astros and could have conceivably won that last game. But nice job by the Birds for rebounding there. As I mentioned, they begin the week against the Toronto Blue Jays at home, and they go to Fenway Park over the weekend to face the Boston Red Sox for a 4-game set. And then Monday, a week from today, they have that matinee game, as Boston traditionally does that Boston Marathon game. Number 16 is the Seattle Mariners, who are coming off a split with the Twins. Their game yesterday got rained out. They begin this week in Kansas City against the Royals. And they close out the week hosting the Oakland Athletics. I mentioned that they split with the Twins. They also got a split with the San Francisco Giants as well. Number 15 is, as I mentioned before, the Minnesota Twins, who are coming off the split against the Mariners. They are off to a solid start, 4-3, but I mentioned that they were involved in a postponed game. They opened the week with a very, very difficult 3-game slate against the reigning World Series champion Houston Astros at home. Luckily, if they are able to pick up them off 2 out of 3, call that a win for the Twins. And they host the White Sox to close out the week for a 4-game set. And then they also split with the Pittsburgh Pirates in the beginning of last week. If the Twins get out of that week 4-3, I think that's a good week for them, honestly. Because I think they can split with the White Sox and win 2 out of 3 against Houston. But in all likelihood, they'll probably lose 2 out of 3 against Houston. And maybe they'll get 3 out of 4 from the White Sox, who have been not playing well of late. Number 14, this is a little bit of a generous ranking for a team that's 4-5, and that's the St. Louis Cardinals, as they lost 2 out of 3 to the Arizona Diamondbacks over the weekend. And before that, they lost 2 out of 3 to the Milwaukee Brewers, although it probably should have been 2 out of 3 wins. And speaking of the Brewers, they host the Brewers for 3, and they go to Cincinnati for 4. As the Cardinals have to get out of that week 4-3, because the Reds are so much weaker than the Cards, and they have the Brewers at home and could have easily beaten the Brewers 2 out of 3. Number 13 is the Toronto Blue Jays, who I probably have underranked. They are 6-4 right now. They get the win, the series win over the Texas Rangers. They defeated them 2 out of 3, and they also went 2 out of 3 against the Chicago White Sox at home. So good week for the Blue Jays. They're at Baltimore to begin the week, and they close the week at Cleveland. So getting out of there 3-3 would be ideal for Toronto. Number 12 is the Colorado Rockies, who lost 2 out of 3 against the Atlanta Braves, which easily could have been a sweep. They're 5-5 right now. I believe the ranking I've given them at number 12 is a little bit generous, but it's still really early in the season. They open the week by defeating the Padres 3 out of 4, and then they lose 2 out of 3 at home against Atlanta. They open the week hosting the Padres, and they close out the week with 4 games in D.C. against Bryce Harper and the Washington Nationals. So if they get out of there 4-3, I think that's a good week, because I won't be shocked if they sweep San Diego, but I think the Nationals are under some pressure, and they'll start to play up to their potential. I'll get to the Nationals in a couple minutes. A bit of a generous ranking for a 3-6 team at number 11, and that's the Los Angeles Dodgers, who probably should be lower than this, but I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. There's a couple of teams I'm giving the benefit of the doubt to. The Dodgers are one of them. I'm only giving the benefit of the doubt only for a few more weeks. They split with the Giants, and their Friday game was postponed, and they got swept by the Diamondbacks. Disappointing week for the Dodgers. They could have, or probably should have, won on Saturday, but give the Giants credit. Andrew McCutchen hit the walk-off home run against them. They open the week at home against the Athletics tomorrow and Wednesday, off Thursday, and the Diamondbacks come to town over the weekend. Won't be surprised if they win 5 straight, or it'll be 6 straight because they got the win the other day against the Giants. But at best, we're probably looking at 4-1 or 3-2 there. Number 10 is the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Probably should be a better ranking than this, but I'm putting them this low because they beat up on a bad Athletics team. So part of these rankings are you get credit for who you've beaten, but at the same time, if you're playing against a subpar team, then you don't get as much credit. So the Angels, Shohei Ohtani's just been brilliant this week. The Angels are at the Rangers to begin the week, and they close out the week with a 4-game set in Kansas City against the Royals. Shohei Ohtani will probably pitch on Saturday against the Royals. That's what it's looking to be right now. They defeated the Angels, or the Athletics, 2 out of 3, and they opened the week with 2 out of 3 against a really good Indians team. But yeah, most of the Angels' wins have come against the Athletics. That's why their ranking is pretty low. Although they deserve a ton of credit for the Indians, who are my number 9 team. They are disappointing right now because part of it's because they started the year on the West Coast. Their schedule's softening up. They're 4-5 right now. But they get my benefit of the doubt because they're a talented team, and part of those games were against the Angels and the Mariners, all on the West Coast, and it's hard to start on the West Coast. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Angels, and they beat the Royals 2 out of 3, although that could have been a sweep, potentially. They opened the week with a 4-game set at home against the Detroit Tigers, which probably should be a sweep, and they close out the week with 3 games against the Toronto Blue Jays, who are off to a solid start. I think that's a 5-2 week ahead for the Cleveland Indians. Number 8 is the Milwaukee Brewers at 5-5. I think that's a bit of a generous ranking for them at 5-5, considering that Christian Yelich is now on the disabled list as well as their closer, Corey Knebel, who they've clearly missed against the Cubs, as I mentioned several times. They defeated the Cardinals 2 out of 3, give them credit for that. And they lost 3 out of 4 to the Cubs, although they could have conceivably split with the Cubs. They opened the week with 3 games against the Cardinals and the off day Thursday. Then they travel to Citi Field to face on the red-hot New York Mets. I'll get to the Mets in a couple minutes. Number 7 is the Washington Nationals, 4-5 right now. A bit of a generous ranking for a 4-5 team that is coming off a sweep of the hands of the New York Mets from the weekend. And then before that, they played the Braves in Atlanta as they lost 2 out of 3 to them. They've lost 5 straight in general. They played the Braves to begin the week, and they closed out the week with 4 games against the Colorado Rockies. Don't be that surprised if that's 7 wins in a row after them being 4-5. But even 5-2 would be solid for Washington that next week. Number 6, another generous ranking for a team that's 500 right now, and that's the New York Yankees. Part of that is because they have a lot of injuries right now, and every game they've played has been competitive and close, and they probably should have beaten the Orioles 3 out of 4 as 2 games won the extra innings, and they could have conceivably had 2 walk-offs, but instead they are 5-5, and Giancarlo Stanton is struggling mightily right now as he's been booed multiple times in the Bronx. And maybe the best thing for the Yankees as a team is hitting the road against their rivals, Red Sox, who are 8-1 to beginning the season. I'll talk about the Red Sox in a couple minutes. And the Yankees close out the week against the subpar Tigers team. And although they began the week pretty well with a 2-game sweep over the lousy Rays, but they lost 2 out of 3 against the Orioles, so they are stuck here at 5-5. Number 5 is the Chicago Cubs, a bit of a generous ranking for a team that's 5-4, but they are 5-4, and they are coming off 3 out of 4 against the Milwaukee Brewers, which was good, and they did lose a game to Cincinnati to begin the week, but their game Tuesday was rained out. So, a solid week for the Cubs. They opened the week against the Pirates. They were supposed to start today, but postponed due to inclement weather, so they're playing it tomorrow. So, 3 against the Pirates at home, and they close out at home against the Atlanta Braves. Don't be shocked if it's 6 straight for the Cubs, because the schedule is weak, but 4-2 should be okay for the Cubs. Number 4 is the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are a very impressive 7-2. They are deserving of a top 4 ranking for me. Their pitching's been very solid. They're coming off a sweep of the Los Angeles Dodgers at home. That's very impressive. And they won 2 out of 3 in St. Louis against the Cardinals. They opened the week in San Francisco against the Giants, and they close out the week in Los Angeles against the Dodgers. The Diamondbacks would gladly take 3-3. And that's what it's looking like for them, in my opinion. If they do better than 3-3, it's a grand slam for them. Number 3, this is going to be a bit surprising, but the Houston Astros. Only because I'm putting them here at 3 is because they probably shouldn't have won on Saturday against the Padres the way they did. They did lose a game to San Diego, a very lousy San Diego team, but they took care of business on Sunday, and then they impressively swept the Baltimore Orioles to begin the week. And to begin this week, they are at Minnesota for 3 games. That's going to be a challenge for them. And then with the off day on Thursday, they return home to face the Texas Rangers. And then they get them on Sunday Night Baseball to close out the weekend, next weekend. So it should be an interesting week for the Astros. Well, I won't be shocked if they get that week 5-1. but don't rule out 4-2. Anything worse than 4-2 should be disappointing. Number 2, the Boston Red Sox, who are 8-1 to begin the season, coming off a sweep of the Rays. They've won 8 straight games after losing the opener to the Rays. They probably should be 9-0. They would have been 9-0 if not for their bullpen struggling on opening day. They swept the Rays. They swept the Marlins. They took care of business by beating up on bad teams. But they have an interesting week ahead as the Yankees come to town, the 5-5 Yankees, who are injury-ravaged right now. And the Orioles come in for 4 games to close out the weekend. Then they have the Patriot game on Monday. That Yankee series is going to be very interesting. You have Severino against Sale on Tuesday. That's going to be a fantastic game on ESPN. I'll preview that game more on tomorrow's podcast. So that's going to be a ton of fun, as the Red Sox are going to be challenged this week against the Yankees. If they win that Yankee series, then that says a lot about them, and that doesn't say good things about the Yankees, to be honest, either. And number 1, this is going to come as a bit of a surprise, but at the same time it shouldn't. After the impressive 3-game sweep of the Washington Nationals in D.C., the New York Mets are the number 1 on the power rankings this week. They swept the Nationals. They destroyed them on Thursday. And they beat them in close games consecutively on Saturday and Sunday through the clutch hitting and good pitching. They swept the Phillies on Tuesday and Wednesday, with the Monday game postponed due to snow. So give the Mets credit for beating up on the subpar Phillies. And the Nats are better than the Mets on paper, but give them credit for the sweep. This is why they're number 1. If they lost last night, they probably would have... I would have put Boston 1, Houston 2. I probably would have put the Mets at number 3 or number 4. They open the week playing the subpar Marlins, and they close out the week against the Brewers. I have a funny feeling that the Mets are going to make it 8 straight wins because they're playing the subpar Marlins. And heck, it can't be ruled out that the Mets are going to be on an 11-game winning streak coming into next Monday's series as the Nationals and Bryce Harper come to town a week from today. Give the Mets all the credit in the world. Mickey Callaway's done fantastic so far. And watch, I'm going to totally regret this ranking if the Mets lose 2 out of 3 to the Marlins to begin the week. That's going to be one of my biggest regrets if that happens. That would be typical me if that would come back to bite me in the butt. Players of the week. American League, this is easy. Shohei Ohtani, perfect inning, or perfect game through 6 2/3 or 6 1/3. And he hit a couple home runs at the plate. He hit 3 homers. Homered in 3 straight games. That's an easy winner for me. Easy winner in the National League, too. Bryce Harper leads the league with 6 home runs. Hit a couple bombs against the Mets. Hit a couple against the Braves. He's looking like the runaway National League MVP favorite, as those are 2 obvious choices for players of the week with Ohtani and Harper. Didi Gregorius is an honorable mention for the American League, as he had a fine week for the Yanks. Jamison Taillon, honorable mention for the National League, as he pitched really well for Pittsburgh. And this week in baseball is going to be very interesting. NHL, I'm going to do the redraft now and then save the predictions for last, because I just think it's more fun to save the predictions for last. A fun little redraft coming up from 2016. A couple of the picks are the same and a ton of them are different. Number 1, Toronto Maple Leafs, Austin Matthews. No do-over here as the Leafs take their franchise guy in Matthews, who has lived up to the hype since day 1. Despite missing 20 games this season, he still managed to put up 63 points in 62 games, and he'll be a Hart Trophy candidate for years to come on a Toronto team that will be contending for Stanley Cups for years to come. The actual pick, Matthews. 2, Winnipeg Jets, Patrick Laine, wing. No do-over for the Jets as they take their guy in Laine, who's right up there with Matthews among the league's best young players. Laine tallied 69 points in 80 games this season. He'll be a top scorer and a Hart Trophy candidate for years to come. The actual pick, Laine. 3, Columbus Blue Jackets. Matthew Tkachuk. The Jackets do a semi-do-over here as they take Tkachuk here, who's shown to be a top 6 forward with the Flames. Tkachuk tallied 49 points in 69 games, and he had room to grow as a player and would slide into the Jackets' top 6 nicely, sans the fact that they have a surplus of forwards. The actual pick, Pierre-Luc Dubois. For Edmonton Oilers, Mikhail Sergachev. Sergachev was perceived as the best defenseman in this draft class, and he's owned up to the billing as he's shown with the Bolts this season after Habs traded him away last summer for Jonathan Drouin. Sergachev posted 40 points in 79 games this season, and the Habs are probably regretting trading him, as Sergachev would have been a nice piece for the Canadiens as they are about to enter a bit of a rebuild. Sergachev would have been great on the up-and-coming Oilers, especially after the disappointing season they've had. The actual pick, Jesse Puljujarvi. 5, Vancouver Canucks, Charlie McAvoy. McAvoy is easily the second best defenseman from this draft class, and he's proven to be a steal at where the Bruins selected him. McAvoy posted 32 points in 59 games this season and probably has other teams regret passing up on him. The actual pick, Ali Juove. 6, Calgary Flames, Pierre-Luc Dubois. With Tkachuk off the board, the Flames take Luc Dubois, who would be a solid choice here. Luc Dubois put up 37 points in 62 games this season and has room to grow as a player. The actual pick, Matthew Tkachuk. 7, Arizona Coyotes, Clayton Keller. No do-over here for the Coyotes as they take their guy in Keller, who had a great season for the Coyotes. Keller put up 52 points in 71 games this season, and he'll be a top 6 forward for the Coyotes for years to come. The actual pick, Keller. 8, Buffalo Sabres, Alex DeBrincat. DeBrincat has proven to be a huge steal at where the Blackhawks selected him in the second round. DeBrincat posted 52 points in 82 games this season, will be a very good player for the Blackhawks as they go forward. Imagine DeBrincat playing alongside Jack Eichel. That would be a deadly combo on the Sabres. The actual pick, Alexander Nylander. 9, Montreal Canadiens, Dante Fabro. With Sergachev off the board, the Habs take Fabro here, who has top 4 D-man potential, would be a nice piece for the Habs going forward, or would have been a nice piece. Fabro was talked about heavily at the trade deadline as the Preds kept him put for a reason. He should be on the Preds roster to begin next season. The actual pick, Mikhail Sergachev. 10, Colorado Avalanche, Jordan Kyrou. Kyrou has proven to be a total steal at where the Blues took him in the second round. Kyrou was sought after at the trade deadline as teams tried to trade rentals to the Blues for a return that featured Kyrou. Imagine Kyrou playing behind Nate McKinnon for the next decade. That could have been possible here. The actual pick, Tyson Yost. Number 11, Ottawa Senators from the New Jersey Devils, Jesse Puljujarvi. Puljujarvi is the choice here as he drops from where he was originally drafted, and this could have been a steal for the Sens. Puljujarvi tallied 20 points in 56 games for the Oilers this season and would have been more points if he played a full 82. He has room to grow as a player and could have been a nice piece for a team that's about to enter a rebuild, as Erik Karlsson will be shopped this summer. The actual pick, Logan Brown. Number 12, New Jersey Devils, Henrik Borgstrom. Borgstrom has proven to be a steal at where the Panthers selected him in this draft. Borgstrom put up 52 points in 40 games in college this year and saw some NHL action at the end of this season. He surely will start next season with the Panthers and could have easily been a nice fit behind Nico Hischier in New Jersey. The actual pick, Michael McLeod. 13, Carolina Hurricanes, Logan Brown. Brown is the choice here as he falls a couple spots from where he was originally drafted. Brown put up 24 points in 15 games in the OHL this season and saw 4 games with the Sens this season as well. He will certainly begin next season in Ottawa and would have been a nice fit in Carolina as well. The actual pick, Jake Bean. 14, Boston Bruins, Michael McLeod. McLeod is the choice here with Charlie McAvoy off the board. McLeod has put up gaudy numbers in the OHL and can start the next year with the Devils. McLeod probably would have been trade bait for the Bruins with all the depth the Bruins have at center. The actual pick, Charlie McAvoy. 15, Minnesota Wild, Tyson Yost. Yost falling here would be a steal for the Wild. Yost put up 22 points in 65 games with the Avs this season and has room to grow as a player. He could have slid in as a third or fourth line center for the Wild. The actual pick, Luke Kunin. 16, Arizona Coyotes, Dennis Cholowski. Cholowski has proven to be a steal at where the Red Wings traded back and took him. Cholowski put up 66 points in 69 WHL games this season and may have the Coyotes regret taking him in this spot and would have been nicely fit with Olivier Ekman-Larsson on the blue line in Arizona. The actual pick, Jacob Chychrun. 17, Nashville Predators. Jake Bean. With Fabro off the board, the Preds take another young and promising defenseman in Bean. He posted 27 points in 25 games in the WHL this season and figures to be in the Canes' long-term plans and could have fit nicely with the Preds. The actual pick, Dante Fabro. 18, Winnipeg Jets from the Philadelphia Flyers. Jacob Chychrun. Chychrun drops a couple spots from where he was originally drafted as the Jets snag him here. Chychrun has tallied 34 points in 118 NHL games in 2 seasons with the Coyotes and has room to grow as a player. The actual pick, Logan Stanley. 19, New York Islanders. Ali Hulave. The Isles snag up Hulave here as they hoping to snag a steal here in the redraft. Hulave has put up nice numbers in the OHL but hasn't panned out as quickly as the Canucks thought. He'll probably be on the Canucks to begin next season as they continue their rebuild, and he would have been a nice promising piece on an Isles team that could be entering a rebuild if John Tavares departs this summer. My actual pick, Michael McLeod. Number 20, Detroit Red Wings from the New York Rangers via the Arizona Coyotes. Alexander Nylander, the wing from Mississauga. With Cholowski off the board, the Wings go with Nylander, who would be a steal sliding this far. Nylander has had nice stats in the OHL, but did not do that much with the Sabres this past season and has room to grow as a player. The actual pick, Dennis Cholowski. I made a mistake. The actual pick for the New York Islanders was Kiefer Bellows, not Michael McLeod. That was a mistake by me. Number 21, the Carolina Hurricanes from the Los Angeles Kings, Sam Steele. Steele has proven to be a steal where the Ducks selected him. Steele put up very good numbers in the WHL and could find himself on the Ducks next season. Would have been a nice depth piece for the Canes. The actual pick, Julien Gauthier. 22, Philadelphia Flyers from the Chicago Blackhawks via the Winnipeg Jets. Trent Frederic. Frederic has proven to be a steal at where the Bruins took him. Frederic put up solid numbers in college and could start next season on the Bruins if he wants to, or they can use him as trade bait. The actual pick, Herman Rostovov. 23, Florida Panthers, Riley Tufte. With Broxton off the board, the Panthers go with wing. Go with Tufte, who is a bit of a project. Tufte did not put up great numbers this season in college, so I bet he stays in college another year to develop and ends up on Dallas's roster in 2019. The actual pick, Henrik Borgstrom. Number 25, Anaheim Ducks, Samuel Girard. Girard has proven to be a steal where the Preds took him in the second round as they traded him away to the Avs as they had a surplus of defensemen that Nashville was able to trade from. Girard has been solid for the Avs this season as they got a nice return in the Matt Duchene trade. The actual pick, Max Jones. 25, Dallas Stars, Julien Gauthier. Excuse me. With Tufte off the board, the Stars take another wing in Gauthier, who has put up nice stats in the minors. He'll probably start next season on the Canes, and he'd be a nice fit on the Stars as well. The actual pick, Riley Tufte. 26, St. Louis Blues from the Washington Capitals, Max Jones. The Blues go with Jones here, has shown a ton of potential in the OHL. He could start next season on the Ducks possibly, and if he were on the Blues, he'd probably be in the bottom 6 due to the Blues' depth at forward. The actual pick, Tage Thompson. 27, Tampa Bay Lightning, Herman Rostovov. The Bolts go with Rostovov here, who fell a few spots in the redraft and could have been a steal. Rubstov put solid numbers up in the MHL and could end up being trade bait for the Flyers due to their forward depth, or he could start the year on the Flyers. The actual pick, Brett Hoden. 28, Washington Capitals, Luke Kunin. Kunin falling this far would be a steal for the Caps. Kunin was solid in the AHL and put up 4 points in 13 games with the Wild. The actual pick, Lucas Johansson. 29, Boston Bruins, Brett Hoden. With Frederic off the board, the Bruins take another center in Hoden. He was showing some potential. The Bolts traded him away to the Rangers in the Ryan McDonough-JT Miller trade, and he can see some time with the Rangers next season as they enter a new era. Or the Rangers could use him as trade bait. The actual pick, Trent Frederic. 30, Anaheim Ducks, Lucas Johansson. With Steele off the board, the Ducks go with the defenseman and Johansson to keep building their defense depth. Johansson has put up solid numbers in the WHL and could see time with the Caps next season. The actual pick, Sam Steele. Round 1 playoff predictions. I want to save this for last. Eastern Conference. Your 1 seed in the Atlantic Division and in the Eastern Conference, Tampa Bay Lightning against the second wild card, New Jersey Devils. Tampa's had an amazing bounce-back season after missing out on the playoffs a year ago. The New Jersey Devils, what a great turnaround season for them as they go from having the number 1 pick in the draft to the playoffs. Taylor Hall might be the best player in the series, but Tampa Bay is just the better team with the better goaltender in Andrei Vasilevsky. So give me the Bolts in what I expect to be a competitive series. I do believe that New Jersey can win this series. Keith Kincaid is probably going to get the majority of starts in this series, as Corey Schneider's coming off his injury and hasn't really looked all that sharp. So I won't be surprised if Keith Kincaid gets the majority of starts in this series. So give me Tampa Bay in 6 games. Although don't rule out the possibility of New Jersey making this even a 7-game series or pulling out the outright upset. I think New Jersey is being slept on by people in the media. The Boston Bruins against the Toronto Maple Leafs in the other Atlantic Division, on the Atlantic Division side of the bracket. Boston has home ice with the 2 seed. Toronto has the 3 seed. This is a toss-up series, arguably the first round's best series. This is bound to go 7 games. Austin Matthews is probably the best player in the series. Both of these teams have experience. Toronto gained some experience last year with being competitive against the Caps and could have conceivably beaten the Caps last year. So, you know what, give me the Bruins here because they have all the veteran presence, and Brad Marchand and Patrice Bergeron have been in big playoff games. Rick Nash will help them. Tuukka Rask has been in big spots before. So give me the Bruins in 7 games, although I won't rule out the Maple Leafs in this series. In the Metro's division side of the bracket, you have 1-seeded Washington against the first wildcard Columbus Blue Jackets. Washington's won the division. This is the 3rd straight time they've won the division. But this is the first time that they're not the 1 seed in the East. They were the 1 seed in the East the last 2 years. They're the 2 seed conceivably in the East, but the 1 seed in the Metro bracket. Columbus is a solid team. They have a good defense, good depth of forwards. Sergei Bobrovsky's solid in net. If they didn't have the big 10-game win streak, they probably are out of the playoffs, and Florida might be in. So give Columbus credit and John Tortorella credit for making the playoffs again. But I just think the Caps are the better team here. Braden Holtby's had a disappointing season by his standards, but I think he'll be good in the series. Alex Ovechkin's the best player in the series, so give me the Caps in 6 games. And last but not least, in terms of the Eastern Conference, you have 2-seeded Pittsburgh Penguins against 3-seeded Philadelphia Flyers on the Metro side of the bracket. This is probably the best series of the first round. This is going to get all the attention and all the national NBC games, I bet. I didn't see the full schedule yet. But this is going to be a great series. Best player in the series is probably Sidney Crosby. Evgeny Malkin's had an incredible season. Claude Giroux's had a great year for Philadelphia. He's had a 100-point season. Wayne Simmons, Sean Couturier have had good years on Philadelphia. Pittsburgh has all this depth and experience on their team. That's going to prevail here. Matt Murray will be great. I don't think the Flyers' goaltending is going to hold up with Mrazek and Brian Elliott, depending on who starts. I think those guys are capable of providing good games. Both of those guys have had experience in the past with Detroit and St. Louis, respectively. But Matt Murray's big game goalie these last few years. Give me the Penguins to advance in 7 games. Western Conference side of the bracket, you have your President's Trophy winning Nashville Predators against the second wild card Colorado Avalanche. Nashville's had an incredible season. They've been the hottest team in the league for a couple months now. They're deserving winners of the President's Trophy as they look to get back to the Stanley Cup final. This Preds team reminds me of the 2014-15 Rangers team, who in the previous season made the Stanley Cup final, lost to the Kings, and it came back to win the President's Trophy. Nashville's done the same thing, lost in the final last year to the Penguins, came back this year, won the President's Trophy. Peter Lavalliolette's an excellent coach. Nashville has all the depth in the world from forwards to defense. They have a good goalie duo. Pekka Rinne is a Vezina candidate this year. I think Nashville's so much better than the Avs, who got into the playoffs on the last day of the season. Nate McKinnon is a Hart Trophy candidate. The Avs deserve a ton of credit after having a terrible season last year. They had the worst record in the league last year. To making it to this far, to make it to the first round of the playoffs, is just exceptional. I think Nashville's going to roll Colorado. Give me the Preds in a sweep, but I won't be surprised if Colorado steals one game at home. But I'll be surprised if this series goes past 5, honestly. Nashville's just so much better. And also in the central bracket, you have 2-seeded Winnipeg against 3-seeded Minnesota. The Wild have been a little mediocre of late. You have Winnipeg, who's had an amazing year. Patrick Laine's been incredible. Blake Wheeler's had a nice season. The Jets deserve a lot of credit after missing the playoffs last year and coming back to make the playoffs this year. Bruce Boudreau has been an incredible coach these last couple of years. Jared Spurgeon should be back for the playoffs. Ryan Suter, I believe, is out for the rest of the season, and that is a big loss for them. Yeah, he is out for the season. He broke his ankle, Suter I'm talking about, but Spurgeon should be back for them. The Wild have a lot of depth forward-wise and defense-wise. Devin Dubnyk's capable of stealing a couple games. I just think the Jets' offensive firepower, led by Laine and Wheeler, will be too much for the Wild, as they'll miss Spurgeon if he's not back in time, and they'll miss Suter as well. So give me the Jets in 6 games over the Wild, although I won't be overly surprised if the Wild are able to pull off the upset. In the Pacific bracket, you have the 1-seeded Vegas Golden Knights, who are making their playoff debut in their first season in the league against the number 1 wild card in the West, the Los Angeles Kings. Gerard Gallant's easily the coach of the year this year in the league. He's done an amazing job with the Vegas Golden Knights. They have been absolutely outstanding this season with the team they put together. They have a very bright future. William Karlsson, 78 points this season. David Perron's been great for them. James Neal's been a nice acquisition. Marc-Andre Fleury's a big game goalie. He has a Stanley Cup in the past. I just think the Kings' experience is so valuable. Although the Kings didn't make it out of the first round these last couple years, I like them here to pull off the upset over the Vegas Golden Knights. Jonathan Quick has had a nice year. Anze Kopitar's probably the best guy in the series. I think Vegas can absolutely win this series, but give me the Kings in 6 to upset Vegas, as Vegas has to be proud of the year they've had, because nobody picked them to make the playoffs before the season. They're one of those teams. Colorado and New Jersey are the 3 teams nobody thought were playoff teams before the year, and all 3 of them are here in the playoffs. As teams like the Rangers and Chicago, many people thought were going to be good, but those teams are obviously sitting this playoff season out. And the other team that a lot of people thought were a playoff contender were the Montreal Canadiens, and they're obviously not a playoff team this year either. And last but not least, your 2 seed in the Pacific Division, Anaheim Ducks, against 3-seeded San Jose Sharks. This is the hardest series for me to predict in the first round. The Ducks and the Sharks are very evenly matched. They both have a ton of depth at forward defense. John Gibson's a good goalie for Anaheim. Martin Jones is pretty good for San Jose, as he led the Sharks to a cup final 2 years ago. Either team is capable of winning the series. I just think the Ducks' star power, they're healthy. I think they get by here in 7 games, led by their core of Ryan Getzlaf and Corey Perry. And Adam Henrique's been a nice addition for them as well. Ricard's been very good for them. I like them to advance. Their defense is great. Cam Fowler, although they traded away Sami Vatanen, their defense is still very good. So give me the Ducks in 7 games. I'll be back maybe later tonight with a full Stanley Cup playoff preview, and I'll repeat my first round predictions, and I'll predict the whole playoffs. I'll give you all my season awards for the NHL as well. I hope you guys have a great day, everybody.